After interviewing DCI Jane Scotchbrook for over an hour, it was clear that she was out of touch with the day-to-day practices of the officers she commands, as we've seen with Detective Anthony Leacock's investigation. A police officer showed up because the guy went into the phone box and called the police 999. They showed up, I think 3 or 4 hours later, and the police officer took the word of the nurse that was on the day shift.
I think your best bet with stuff like that is to try and check with us, because you've obviously got a very traumatised. That sounds absolutely horrendous, but to say without checking with us, you don't know that the police didn't do anything. That's what I'd be worried about. If you're saying police didn't, you don't know that because you've not checked sort of our side of things.
I did actually in detail.
Oh really? When did you make the inquiry?
This was that actually happened to me. That was 4th of December. 2013.
Right, okay. So what you're saying, you were the victim?
I was the victim on that one, yes.
Right, okay.
And the PC Betts showed up at 4 p.m. and he didn't take the crime report. He said there was no crime committed because the nurse gave him wrong information and he went away. I reported then, I think 4 days later, the bleeding was too bad, and then another doctor saw me. And then I went into UCH hospital for a workup.
Right.
After going to UCH hospital, the doctor recommended I go to the Havens.
Yeah.
I went to the Havens, and the Havens said, you have to come with a police escort. Because I've just come out of mental hospital. I literally went to hospital, ran out from there. I was going to another doctor's appointment. Went there, and the Havens wouldn't see me, so I went home, called the police, but the police took me back to St. Charles Hospital. After then, I didn't get any examination or any treatment for the rape until after I came out. I reported it again, and after that, I ended up having a lot of complications, physical complications from the actual incident. And then the case was called, it's an old case, I think it's a detective called Anthony Leacock from Fulham Police Station, I think. He came to see me, and then he refused to take clothing because he didn't have a car. That was his statement. After that, I didn't hear from him for I think a month. And he called me and said, no, there was no way you could have been raped in that hospital because he got the dates wrong. He was investigating the wrong date. So eventually gave him the right information, the doctor's notes and everything else. He went back and he told me, well, I don't think it would have happened. I don't think he would have been raped. But it took him a year to take a statement. As you said, I wasn't given a SOET officer or anything else. I only dealt with him personally and no one else.
Right.
And I wasn't able to get hold of him at any time throughout the year. I think it took me about 7 months to track him down for him to get back to me. He was on holidays. At one point then he called me and said, I need to get a DNA swab. So he called me at a doctor's appointment, and he took the swabs outside a car park in the hospital, and he couldn't find the DNA swab thing. And it took him, he had to go back, find one from the boot of his car, which was neither sanitary or clean. And it's, he took one, then he came back and took the second one. And that was done in a car parked and outside the Bloomsbury Clinic. But then
did you ever speak to police about this? Like, did you ever make a complaint or anything?
No, I haven't yet. I haven't really. I didn't see the point. Because then after that, he took statement over almost a year, over 13 months after, was it 14 months after the actual fact? That's when he took the statement. And that's the only reason he took the statement is because I actually wrote it down and gave it to him. Because he said he had 2 officers assigned to it, but he didn't. The other officer was taken off his case and it was only him. Then he was on holidays for a while. Then he said he couldn't put the underwear that was given to him at the beginning of the investigation. He hasn't put it in for a lab report. That was 9 months into was it 10 months into after the reporting, and he said I haven't given it in because my boss has been on holiday, so no lab work was done up to that point, and I had to literally beg him to take my clothing, because from the hospital at the time, because it was covered, my sheets were covered in blood. I took the sheets out, gave it to my sister, took it out, and I gave it to him. He said he didn't want it. He said, I don't need that now.
And what's the situation with the investigation now?
It's closed. He said there was no physical evidence, or because I wasn't taken to anywhere else, he said there was no evidence I was raped. And he spoke to 4 people on his investigation, and 3 of the people he spoke to were never not present during the incident. He only spoke to 1 nurse that was on that night, and that's the extent of his investigation.
I'm wondering whether we should have a look at it.
Yeah.
I've asked him if I can get my case reviewed.
Yes.
And he said no, because he had prior issues with the police. It's like, I don't think it's going to work. This is not long ago, I think it's in June when he closed it. And he told me his exact words were, because at the time I was still doing about the rape documentary thing, and I asked him, can I use this recording of this meeting? And he said no, if you use it, I'm going to do something. I'm like, what are you going to do? He didn't finish his statement. He threatened me, and that was it. And basically, I think he spoke to 4 people throughout his investigation.
But if you want your case reviewed, I would ask to, it depends what you want from it, but it doesn't sound right.
Getting hold of him was a nightmare, because I had no idea about the Soviet officers even existed until today.
Was he from Sapphire though?
He's a Sapphire unit, DC Anthony Leacock. He works with the DS Dennis, and he was based in Empress House, and also I used to go see him at Hammersmith Police Station, which is I think the nearest police station he used to walk to.
May well be, yeah.
Yeah, and it's when he told me about the case, he took me to outside Starbucks in Hammersmith Police Station, right in the junction. I can barely hear a word he was saying. And it's there were people sitting around us, and he's telling me about the rape and how he doesn't think it happened and everything else.
It just now explains all your questions.
Yes, it would have been handy to know this before.
Yeah, I think, I mean, that sounds horrendous, and I agree with Jane that, I know, but it might have been better if you'd been up front at the beginning, I think, because that's why we've been like, well, that question, why would you say that? It's obviously from personal experience.
It's like, there's no other way you can come into this unless you have personal experience. So it's not something to do malicious project on it.
No, but it's just about being transparent about everything. You're asking us to be very transparent about. So I think out of courtesy, it would have been.
I didn't think it was an issue in terms of like the project I'm working on now. This is just a project.
But your questions have been specifically framed based on your experience, haven't they?
It is, because that's all I know.
If you feel that he's not done stuff that we say that we do, then you should raise that with his DI.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that's.
I mean, there's a way.
That's not.
Yeah.
If it's what you're saying, he's not done this, and then I think you should raise that to at least get some sort of explanation.
Okay. If it's, I was happy enough with the closure on it, but if I'll send it to forward it to you, and they can forward it to you. And
forward it to me. I can. Yeah. Do you know your crime? You must know your crime number.
Not by heart.
Not by heart. No, no, far too long.
But I have it at home though. It's, I can just email it.
Just send.
Because when it was closed, what did they do? Did he send you a letter or something?
No, he took me outside Starbucks in Hammersmith and told me the case was closed.
Right. Okay.
Because there is a victim's right to review now, but that I think that would have come in after possibly your case. But that doesn't stop you being given, a better explanation about why your case is closed. What would be helpful for me is if you wouldn't mind just giving me your crime number, just sending it through, because then I can have a look at it.
Because there might be issues that we need to address. into, do you see what I mean?
Fine, I can do that. Okay, Reporting male rape to the Metropolitan Police does not guarantee a prosecution nor a proper investigation, but it is guaranteed to be detrimental for the victim's psychological and physical well-being. The only real support available to the victims is by organisations like Survivor UK and Gallup. Coming up, DCI Jane Scotchbrook's assessment of my case, the review of the case and encounters with Anthony Leacock and Metropolitan Police.
Okay, now, and I'm going to warn you, Daniel, I'm going to warn you now on that tape that if any of this goes on the internet, right?
Yeah.
Anyhow, I'm just warning you.
No, what's your warning? State your warning.
I'm just warning you, that's all.
Just state your warning. Just tell me your warning.
Anyway, just say I'm warning you.
Anthony, that's the threat, right?
That's
a direct threat.
It's not a threat. It's not a threat, Daniel.